Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
Yay!
And I am your guest and editor, Camden.
Woo! Feel free to put like applause audio or something.
Okay.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players. What the fuck?
Sam, sorry.
So actually, we're gonna go ahead and give Camden the italicized content, okay? And then Brandon, you can finish the last part there. This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither are our D&D games.
Or the movie Deadpool.
I really like that.
Thank you.
That was really good. Why does it feel like everyone's got a sexier ass voice than me? Even Camden, I'm just like, God damn, dude.
Because we do. Welcome to Patreon.
Indeed.
What did I miss? Oh, okay. All right. So, this episode is brought to you by our generous Patreon donors. If you don't know, Patreon is a membership platform that actually I need to say that more naturally. I don't want to read it. If you this episode is brought to you by our generous Patreon donors. If you don't know, Patreon is a membership platform that is designed for creators to build working relationships with their loyal fans, right?
And the fans pay them.
Yeah, they're known as patrons. It's a It's a tier-based reward system that allows you to support your favorite creators for as little as $1 a month in exchange for special exclusives that they offer you. Some examples of what we do are we run D&D games with our patrons.
We have a Discord. We let you watch our show live.
Yeah, you get to see all our mistakes and all our bloopers live on CNN. So definitely, if you think our show is worth $1 a month, please head on over to Crit Academy. Please head on over to patreon.com/Crit Academy and become a patron. We get really cool stuff. That being said, one of our coolest things I think we offer is once a month, Brandon does a free commission.
Yes.
To our patrons, and you just released the newest one, and it is adorable as hell. Have you guys seen it?
Oh, the elephant?
The little My Little Pony elephant design thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super adorable. So I just want to say kudos to you.
Thank you.
That being said, if you don't want to become a patron, you can make a contribution to the show by commissioning Brandon. What does your artwork go for?
It's usually $20 for full body. Actually, go to our Facebook, go to our photo albums. You'll see the commission albums, and it has all the prices for what kind of commissions you can get.
Oh, wonderful. So definitely check that out. You get something out of it, and that's another way to support the show.
They're not expensive either. So
yeah, you're a cheap whore.
I'm a cheap whore.
Okay.
That's a deal. Like, if you're not taking advantage of Brandon's rates, you're missing out. That's a bargain.
Full body, full color for $20. I had other artists on other social media yell at me. It's like, you're undercutting us. I'm like, so?
Lick my balls, motherfucker. Sam says, ha ha, reads more naturally. Stutter, stutter, mumble, mumble. God damn it, dude.
And Camden, this is why you edit.
Shouldn't you be like working or doing something, cleaning up somebody else's shit?
I wonder
I
how.
had my first. We'll talk about it in the realm, but I had my first day at my 9 to 5 today.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear about that. So,
Yeah.
I totally lost my. Okay.
Blah,
So
blah,
yes,
blah.
God damn it, assholes! You're not helping.
Derp.
So those are some of the ways you can support our show. Definitely check it out. We want to thank you for joining us here today at the Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your roles don't matter. The italicizes you, Camden.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's right. Damn it.
That's why I wasn't saying anything.
I was used to you doing it.
Yep, that's right. Your roles are like a political intrigue game without an assassination.
That would be a shame to go through something like that and somebody not die. You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah, that would be really lame.
It's like it's a must-have, right? Before we get started on our show, we always like to start off on a really high note, and I swear to God, if you do a high-pitched squeal,
A really high note.
God, I hate you fuckers.
We like to start on a really high note and give away free gifts and prizes. Justin's getting pissed off, and I can see it in his face.
Are you fucking done?
Maybe.
I fucking hate you both. We love
you.
God damn it, dude.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Are you sure? I don't even believe you now. We like to start off on a high note by giving away wonderful prizes. There we go.
Each episode, we will draw one lucky subscriber's name, and they will win the 5-star rated adventure, Banquet of the Damned, Compliments of Goblin Stone. Goblin Stone is a community project for D&D fans based out of the UK. They aim to be a place where you can team up with professionals to turn your ideas into high-quality products and give every fan a chance to get published. Be sure to head over to www.goblinstone.com, or you can check out our fellowship link on our website, www.critacademy.com.
You go to our website and find us up there.
Comes crashing down.
You fucked up.
That's weird. I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, that's right, Morty.
And I just realized that part of our faces are cut off on the stream.
That's not supposed to do that.
I know, but I don't know why.
Ian's missing.
No, not Ian. Well, yeah, Ian, but the whole... Why didn't you say anything there, fucking Sam? I don't know why it did that. Like, it's full screen, I think.
You could, like,
Here, let's do this. If I open this up, does that help? Nope. I think
How
I
about you
figured
actually
it.
look at the YouTube page?
I am. I'm looking at the OBS, Dick.
You look at the Zoom.
No, I got OBS right here. So, yeah, this is weird. I promise this has never happened to me before. Normally, it just works. See, like, there's me shrinking it, and that's as large as it gets. What in the fuck, people? Camden, it's your fault.
Might be.
Community. What the hell is going on? I really don't know what just happened. Usually, it just automatically fits. That'll have to work.
Anywho.
No, not anywho. It doesn't fucking fit.
Freaking maximize and then put it in the background.
You can't do that. It doesn't work that way.
That doesn't? Zoom?
Yeah, watch. It rescales on here. See? That doesn't help me.
The fuck?
God damn it. I promise that we pretend to be professional on here.
Since when?
Like, seriously, look. It's off-center over here.
Yeah, it's cutting off Ian's head.
And I don't know why. There's, like, literally no reason that should be happening. Oh, well, I guess you guys are shit out of luck, I suppose.
They can hear us. That's all I care about.
Yeah, but they can't see you.
But they can hear me.
I guess they don't want to see you anyway.
They can. That way they can
Yikes.
imagine what I look like. I can be anything you want.
But it
me.
doesn't. It doesn't change the fact that that's a problem. You know what I can do though?
Yeah.
I can double up on top, and then they can see our faces. But that's still obnoxious.
He's got no face back there.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I do.
He liked the anime.
It's a painting.
The what?
No face.
No face.
A friend of mine made a painting of No Face for me for Christmas.
I don't even know who that is. Oh, from the anime. Yeah. Okay.
Spirited Away, yeah.
That'll have to work. God damn it. I'm not using Zoom no more. Fuck Zoom. All right, you guys fucking suck, and nothing ever works.
Anyway.
All right. So, Camden, who is our winner today?
Today, our winner is Josiap 1991.
What the fuck? I
Play.
swear.
It's
No, I
fine.
swear I hit
I'll
back.
fix it.
Yeah, I know you will.
Comes crashing down.
Fucking I'm pissed.
Gotta take a stand. Don't have to.
The fuck. You know, I swear I'm just not. I'm done.
Today is
I'm
not
going
your
to bed.
day.
Well, it's just fucking everything, man.
That's
All
what you
right.
get for bringing me on the show.
Yeah, it's all your fucking fault. No, I'm just kidding. No, I've been having all kinds of issues with Zoom lately and OBS. That's why I'll be upgrading to Streamlabs. So fuck y'all, all y'all. If you don't want none, suck it. All right, so what the fuck is his name again? Congratulations, Joysap 1991. If you enjoy the adventure, please head on over to Goblinstone and let them know. Check them out, leave them a review, let them know what you thought of the product. Give them some, just tell them what you think of it. And those of you that are interested in the DMs Guild, we actually now have an affiliation with them. So there is now a banner on our page that if you decide to purchase from DM's Guild, you can click that banner and they'll give us a small kickback for anything you purchase. So definitely.
Yeah, that's right. We got a banner.
God. So definitely check it out. That being said, we got a really great show for you today if we ever get fucking started. I'm really excited. We're going to be we got an awesome question for our Let's Talk About Blank segment in regards to homebrew worlds and pantheons. Our main topic today will be political intrigue, and of course we have our honor tips and tricks where we bring new and reasonable material for you to bring with you on your next adventure. But before all that, we have In the Realm, where we talk a little bit about what's going on in our lives. Camden. What's going on in your realm?
On a professional note, I had my first day at my 9 to 5 today. It's mostly training stuff. It was pretty uneventful, but grueling nonetheless. Got held up on the train on my way home today, and that's why I was a little late to the broadcast. But in my home life, got Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
I'm obsessed. It's really freaking fun.
Yeah,
they've done an excellent job of providing an exceptional gamer experience, even for the free version. There is stuff you can pay for naturally, but it's free to download. Highly recommend for any MMO fans out there.
Yeah,
no content is locked in that game.
All Justin loves. He loves Guild Wars 2.
Actually,
you said that he popped one so hard his tail's gonna fall over.
Oh my god.
Anybody that listens to our show knows I love MMOs. The big one that I've been into as of late is Final Fantasy 14. I always play Final Fantasy. I love it.
I know you also like WildStar.
Yes, I'm an MMO person. But
I saw Terra. That looks pretty good.
Terra is really good, but it gets kind of grindy. If you can get past the grindy, it's got one of the best combat systems in the the genre. That being said, Guild Wars 2, I think, is probably second. They don't lock any content. You buy the game, and it's free, including all the updates and everything that comes with it, except for the expansions, right?
Sure.
And,
right.
And Camden can probably attest to that the combat and the way they tell the story is really cool. They got this unique way of telling the story that your choices influence the outcome, right? Kind of like, not quite to the level of like the Star Wars The Old Republic, but still pretty awesome. So, and what do they got? The living world, right, where everything changes, which is pretty cool. So, I have to ask what you're running.
Who am I? Like my character?
Yes.
Yeah, I started a Sylvari thief. His name is Nilo the Snide. I got him like level 23 right now.
You're doing it wrong.
Am I?
I'm pretty sure he's the first thief that I met that's actually a guy, because the thief outfit follows the typical MMO lesser armor is a better thing, but so I'm impressed.
I always play.
Yeah,
dudes.
he's all light leather, but yeah.
I play Mesmer,
and then I just started a human elementalist as well, just for fun.
Yeah, and the combat's so much different depending on the class, which is awesome. So
yeah,
very cool. We'll have to play together. I'll guest over there and I'll show you how it's done.
Please do anytime. Let's go with Ian. What's going on in your realm?
Well, I watched Deadpool 2. It was awesome. I recommend any Marvel fan to go see it. And yeah, that's my realms. Brandon, what's going on in your realms?
Well, I haven't seen Deadpool 2 yet, and I really want to, but I have kids, so it's hard
Your
to
realm
do.
sucks, dude.
You know what? You can eat my realm. Okay, so yeah,
I also
got
saw it's really good.
Nom 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 nom.
Damn it.
I think you're the only person that hasn't seen it.
Probably not.
Half my coworkers have not seen it, even though they want to.
Wife hasn't yet, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, I got a few things going on. I have scrapped the drawing of us because I'm redoing a drawing.
Was it because I was too thin? You could have left me thin. Maybe someday I'll be there.
No. It was I think it was Zatzier. Last week when we were streaming, we were all doing the muscle poses, and he says he wants that as a drawing, and I'm going to make that into one of our logos
That's awesome.
for the shirts.
That's fantastic.
This
And,
pose has been brought to you by the Armstrong family.
No, by the Crit Academy family.
So there's
fuck the
two more
Armstrongs.
things. The other one was this month's
Don't
tokens are going to be what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Woodland trail based, and that's going to be like carts and such. But I'm only going to be doing maybe 5 or 6 of them. So I'm going to post that in the Discord. I want everyone to tell me what they would like to see
Oh, very cool.
to get made.
And I now tell you what you do with woodland tokens.
Woodland tokens. Yeah. And the third one is I'm thinking about saving to get another tattoo
Why?
because I want another tattoo.
Why?
Don't you know how this works? Guy wants a tattoo.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Of what?
Our logo.
That is way cool. I'm Justin Hanlon, and I approve of this message.
Yep. The Crit Academy logo.
Oh, your tune's only changed.
Why? Don't you think we should become, important first?
This show has had an important impact on my life. So
Hopefully for the better.
I hope
I thought
so.
your wife was going to leave you because of us.
Me too. But she didn't. So
That's good.
Yikes.
I strongly disagree with Sarah, who says that D2 is a family movie.
No.
what? No.
No, okay. Oh, I got a story.
No, it is about family, though.
It is about. I guess it is, isn't it? Camden.
Yeah, so this young couple brought their 5-year-old daughter to Deadpool 2.
Oh, no.
And they were the row behind us, and the whole time this girl was just like, ew, and and there was a part where it was the after credits scene. It was the after credits scene. This isn't a spoiler.
No
This isn't a
spoilers. You said no
spoiler.
spoilers.
But it was the after credits scene where Deadpool is talking to Negasonic and her girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And the girl turns to her dad and goes, "So is that boyfriend, girlfriend?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Time for the talk.
you child, why did your parents bring you here?" So, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, well, we can at least say she got to see some goods her own age, I guess, right? Everybody else terrorized by that vision?
Not in the show I went to.
that was deeply disturbing.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me.
There's that they got that going on Cartoon Network now too. Because Edwin's always home, and so I'm always watching cartoons constantly. Not just the ones I want to watch, but the ones that he wants to watch too. There's a show called The Loud House. It's about one boy. All of his other siblings are girls, and there's 10 of them. And his best friend has 2 dads.
Okay.
And
It's not that
the-
kind of disturbing that you see, I
yeah,
promise.
the wife brought that up. I was like, huh, that's neat.
That's good that it's becoming more accepting. Because like D&D, we accept everyone. We love you all. Now come, rest your head upon my bosom.
I hate that fucking word.
Bosom?
You know, Justin says it all the time.
You know where it
She
comes
knows-
from, right?
She knows it bugs me.
You know where that comes from, right? Because when you're... No, I can't. Not wherever lie. I can't. That's even too far from me.
What? No, I gotta know.
No,
I'm
I
not
can't.
asking
Remind
about.
me
I'm
later.
not asking you about your realm until I find out.
No, later.
Ah!
Okay, so, yes. So, wonderful.
So, Justin, what's going on in your realm?
I'm glad you asked, Ian.
Where'd bosom come from?
Shut up. I'll tell you later. So I'm really excited. I just got to test the play test of our game last Wednesday, and I think it went really good. I did have some hiccups. I took some notes and hopefully make some improvements, but I'm really excited with where it's going. You could say it's being an underwater adventure. It really made me wet.
Oh my God!
It certainly has some challenges.
Yes. Oh my God, he's back. And it was a lot of fun. And then I just last night I ran an adventure for on our patrons for Banquet of the Damned, and I had an effing blast. It was a lot of fun, and the players, including Camden and yourself. No, were you there? You weren't there.
I was not there.
The players, including Camden and some other patrons, was just phenomenal.
I was doing this thing called sleeping.
Yes. And actually, one of our player tips today, I got the idea from Camden. So I'm excited. I'm sure he knows which one I'm talking about, or he doesn't. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
So I think that'll do it. Camden, please do your best to crunch this into something that people can tolerate. I almost wish we'd had just another podcast where we just fucking shoot the shit nonstop. I think
That's
that
called
would-
Patron Pals.
Oh, well, I suppose. We probably should save those and allow other people to listen to those.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think about that sooner? Anyway, so that'll do it for In That Realm. Ian, if they'd like to visit other realms, how can they do that?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Justin. They can check out other realms by going to Audible, where they can get a free audiobook download and a 3-day free trial that they can use to listen to other realms and explore them. And if they want a free 3-day free trial, they can go to audibletrial.com/critacademy.
Or you can visit our website, where there's a link there,
That's an
at
option too.
critacademy.com.
That's totally an option.
All right. Now, Moving on to the special sauce. We need to come up with like some transition music
sauce.
or something, like between major segments. I think.
I can divvy up something.
Cool. I can send you some audio files that my wife's dad made on his guitar. He's like a master guitarist, baller.
That'd be
maybe we can find
really cool.
Find a way to do something with that. Oh, you're a music guy. Maybe you can make something happen with that. So our first segment. I always say it's our first segment, but technically it's our second. Should I change that around?
Just say it's our second segment.
Okay. Moving on to our next segment. Haha, found a happy medium. Moving on to our next segment, we have In the Realm, where we no, that's not In the Realm.
No.
Moving on to our I got it, thanks, asshole. Moving on to our next segment, we have our Let's Talk About Blank segment, where we hear feedback from you, Crit Nation. We have a question from Lath Taylor. When creating a homebrew world, do I go with my own pantheons or stick to the one of the pantheons in the PHB?
Short version,
Let's
yes.
Camden, what do you think?
If this were me, I would totally I'd totally go with my own pantheon. I highly recommend, if you're gonna go through the time to homebrew an entire world, might as well come up with deities to go with it. Yeah, if you really feel the creative juices flowing, I would make my own.
What about you, Ian?
I mean, I don't think it's the wrong answer to this one, really, because if you feel like you know the Forgotten Realm Pantheon well enough, go ahead and implement it. If you want to create your own homebrew deities, do it. If you want to pull from like Norse, Egyptian, Greek, whatever pantheons, do it. Just do what you like. Do what you think will have fun.
That's true. Brandon?
I like Camden's way. I like the idea of having your own world when it's homebrew.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes it more interesting because you come up with your own gods, cities, the map. Even you could play the what was that game called? The one that you played to build maps.
What?
We had a whole episode on this.
Yes, I can't remember the name of the game.
Dawn of Worlds.
Dawn of Worlds.
That
yes,
one.
you can check out that episode and learn how to do that. That really helps too.
Yeah, but like to me, the logic behind going with the Forgotten Realms pantheon is like it's designed for Forgotten Realms and the given WotC designed universe. If you're going after your own shit, might as well come up with your own homebrew stuff, because it'll fit. It will likely fit the world that you've designed better.
All right, so I'm gonna disagree with all you guys.
You a bitch.
What?
Here's what I think. One of the hardest things to get across quickly to your crew, to your players, to your team, whatever word you want to describe your table, is lore, right? And a knowledge of certain things. And no matter what table I sit at, the knowledge of how the gods are, who they are, their types of personalities, isn't something that's common, even among the more hardcore players sometimes. And for me, I personally would rather use something that people know. If they know the lore, great. But if I do a homebrew, not only do I need to build an entire pantheon of characters, but I have to give them personalities. I have to give them some sort of morality or some sort of domain that they control. And honestly, I'm a lazy DM, and that's a lot of work. That being said, what I do for my homebrews is I use existing gods, and I just change their names. In one of my entire campaigns, I used the entire Greek pantheon. I just had different names for all the gods. That way, when somebody asked me who Joran was, fucking Zeus. I could easily tell you from my perspective exactly who it is without any problems, and as a DM, that made my life a million times easier, personally. I don't know if everyone feels that way, but...
So you kind of went off of what I said.
No. Maybe. Did I?
Kind of.
Yeah, I might have been ignoring you.
The Romans did it. Why can't we?
The Romans did it. Nice one, Sarah. Yeah, so in my opinion, especially if you're a newer DM, grab something that exists that you're familiar with. Now, if you're not familiar with something, then maybe it is easier for you to make the shit up and then remember it.
Because my entire thing was boiled down to do what works for you.
Yeah, but that's too generic. This is a specific question. But anyways.
I think that's what makes it fun for your players alone. Is as you're playing Dawn of Worlds, you're coming up with your own lore that everyone's going to know about.
Yeah, but because they're there in the creation process, they're all going to know too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you'd like to keep that mystery in there.
Or maybe you don't. Maybe you want them to automatically know all the deities. For instance, I love God's Fall. Has anybody listened to God's Fall yet?
No.
I love God's Fall. And his first episode is all about the lore and the creation of the gods. And that blew me away because at the start of the campaign, I knew who they were. So every time he referenced one, I knew who it was.
Yep.
Oftentimes in games I'm in, that's not a thing. I don't know who the deities are. And if I do, I don't know if the DM's running them as the lore that I know or as something else.
I still remember my dwarf patriarch that we created during our little game.
Yeah, I hate it. What was your guy's name? He's a bastard.
My god?
The water dwarfs? Fish dwarfs?
Fish dwarfs.
Those water dwarves, those fire dwarves.
Fuck your dwarfs. But yes, were you going to say something, Camden?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that writing your own Pantheon is obviously a lot of work, and going with that option is provided you are willing to do all that work and you have the time to do it. I would do it. I'd say if you're gonna do that, a good little springboard to start off is talk to your players and find out where your players are at. Figure out their backstories. You're more than likely to have a cleric or a warlock that is involved in with the gods somehow. Start from there and make a personality for that god. And, I feel like that'd be a good place to start.
So two things from our patrons in the chat here. First, Sam makes a good point that if you're not familiar and the players aren't familiar, then it's all new anyway. And while I don't think inherently that's a bad thing, I find that you get more inconsistencies that way too. But that might be my lazy DMing. The other thing he says, and then the fire dwarves attacked.
They did too.
They did. They attacked my ice tieflings, bastard.
And they won.
Fuck you.
Only the monk, master of all four elements, can stop.
Actually, isn't that where the ice dwarves came from?
Yes. Because you conquered my land and then they started living there, and then 1,000 years later there was fucking frozen dwarves, bastards.
And the dwarves also built the Warforged.
Bastards. All right, so yeah, those are kind of our responses. Obviously, everyone's got their own little thought process on it, but in the end, I'm right, so just ignore what they all said.
If you do this, it'll kill you. So I'll be dead then. Yes, that's what kill you means.
So we hope this helped. If it didn't, reference our world building episode with Lex Starwalker and check out his stuff because he does a lot of in-depth stuff about this sort of thing. So. That'll do it for Let's Talk About Blank segment. Now, we move on to the meat and potatoes of our podcast, the special sauce, I guess you could say.
Do they have sour cream, cheddar, and bacon bits?
So, our main topic...
You know that the UTT is the special plate. It always has been.
Hey, it's just the goddamn tomato on my figment meat sandwich, okay?
The main topic has always been the pre-plate that no one wants.
It's the appetizer.
I would say it's more like the appetizer, dick. So we got a really great topic today. It's one that's closely personal to my heart.
So the main topic is the salad. Got it.
Yes. As far as in-game and out-of-game, I love political intrigue. I love following politics in real life as much as I do like running a political intrigue campaign. Though it occurs to me that I have not ran more than one political intrigue adventure since I went to 5th edition, and that's a shame. It really is.
It's really fun. I've actually come up with numerous ideas for different political intrigue scenarios or characters involved with them, but I never actually executed them. Just too bad, because they're actually kind of fun ideas.
Sam is right. You fucked up.
What'd I say?
UTT is the meat.
No. And remember to take it to the complaint department with a significant payment. So it gets attended to.
Oh, yes. I did forget that. Thank you, Sam, for pointing that out.
This is the first episode you've ever forgotten that.
Yeah, it's because usually you guys got me all discombobulated, all right? And I'm all the other issues
No,
that are
we
going
don't.
on.
Zoom does.
I can't win. Fuck Zoom. All right, so I'm really excited for this anyway. So everyone runs D&D in their own way. But sometimes you're doing dungeon crawls, and that's not really your bag. I know I like dungeon adventures, but that's really not something that I'm personally is drawn to with D&D as others. I know you love Ian. You love that sort of thing.
I love my combat.
And sometimes you with that you sometimes need a change of pace. More of the cloak and dagger style play is a real great way to change it up. And this not only covers, the political intrigue of games, but stealth missions, stealth missions, and lots of wheeling dealing versus just stabbing people. Instead, you're trying to get like the greatest advantage you can out of somebody and leverage something, other piece of information you have against them to kind of capture that. Aside from just tearing them limb from limb, which is kind of the go-to for most adventurers, right?
I'm gonna rip you in half now.
I don't know how your table is, Camden, but in a lot of my games, a lot of the players are just quick to go and stab somebody, and that's their solution.
Yeah, it depends on the players.
It's true.
I definitely get those guys, and I'm like that too sometimes, depending on the scenario.
Camden's a murder hobo.
I'm not a murder hobo, but like I'm very quick, especially with Shock, the character I played yesterday. Like he's very quick to like, all right, who should I kill?
Not
If
even
that
a
makes
why. Just who's next.
Granted, he finds a reason why.
So a good example that I think we've all seen is Star Wars, right? That is, in my opinion, that is one of the epitomes of a political intrigue versus a dungeon crawl, right? While you're following the Jedi, they're very much doing a dungeon crawl type of thing, right? They're crawling through, cutting up droids left and right till they get to the villain, they fight and slice him up and all that stuff. But on the other half, you got all the stuff going on behind the scenes in like the Senate and everything, right? In the Galactic Republic.
Yeah, Palpatine doing his thing.
Yes, and that in and of itself is a very political, engaged story.
And he did it all legally.
Yeah, that really makes it bad. You're getting too close to home right now, man. Remember, it's your guys' responsibility to keep up with that. So
It's true.
because I can't see it from here. So with that being said, sometimes it's important to change it up a little bit from the Jedi swinging their sword to becoming Senator Amidala or I need some other examples. That's the only big one I can think of.
Jar Jar?
Senator Amihada.
No, we do not talk about him. Like the whole show would be better just without him. I'm told. I actually kind of like Jar Jar, but whatever. So.
And as Sam says, even running a one-shot of political intrigue can definitely give a shot in the arm and have players show their characters in a new light that we haven't seen before.
Right. That's very much true.
And could a political intrigue game be won with no bloodshed? And should it?
Yes and yes.
The orc comes screaming at you
Well,
with a
yes
sword.
and maybe.
And you tell
No.
him, wait, let's talk about this. And he decides, you know what? We're going to talk about this. You both sit down on top of chest, start talking about the world as it is, and the DM seems pretty happy. And then you say, I take out my dagger and stab him in the neck.
Murder hobo.
Sneak attack! Second!
So there are some problems that there are some difficulties that arise with this sort of adventure format or this kind of campaign style. First of all, it's much more open-ended, and it has to be because unless you can't plan out everything that the players are going to think of to to deal with it. And more importantly, it makes a lot more work on the DM because of this. It also comes with an extreme amount of much higher expectation for the players, right? Because with a political intrigue game, you require more than just the powers on their sheet.
Oh, yeah.
You require them to come and think of questions. Okay, this guy is obviously kind of sketchy. What should I do next? The DM can't always just pull them along. They have to be able to think for themselves. And I find that there's some groups that can't do that, making this kind of format extremely difficult.
I was gonna say like you have to run this type of game with people who are looking for that. Definitely.
I also think that there, because you ran a game a while ago with a bunch of bloodthirsty characters, and it was a court scene.
Yes.
And it was, like a 2.5-hour game, and they were in court the entire time?
That was me trying to change it up, yes.
And they had a blast anyway?
Yes.
Regardless of no battles?
I object!
I can kind of talk about that a little bit, because I think that went really good. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
So I think I've probably talked about this briefly on the show before. That's the last one I ran. That was in 4th edition.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, so I haven't ran an Intrigue in 5th edition yet. But anyways, what had happened is our players were tasked with traveling to save this collection of villagers that became slaves from a group of slave traders. And they were in this canyon, and one of the heroes decided that the best way to save the 200 so villagers was to start an avalanche to crush the 50 or so guards. Now, everyone else disagreed with this player. They made it very clear that they disagreed with this player and that was not the best solution. This player instead didn't care and started an avalanche, killing nearly, I don't remember, was it half or more of
It was a lot.
the citizens of the innocents. So what did the players do? They turned her over to the city guard when they got in. And so
This guy's insane.
Sam, what could possibly go wrong?
so I had to now decide how I'm going to handle this because what that person did was outright evil. It was bad, and it was mass murder. So I decided what I wanted to do is I wanted to spice the game up a little bit. So what I did is I wrote little tickets out, right, of NPC, what the NPC saw, what their name was, a little description of what they look like, and a fact, and some even had lies on the back. And it said, your character saw this character smile as she was pushing boulders down, as she was crushing innocent people. You saw her smile and appear to be enjoying it. That was the NPC who got put on the stand as a player. Another player was a merchant who was bribed by somebody else to lie against the against the player or for the player. And so all the players ended up dumping their character sheets and using NPCs as witnesses. I had one character who witnessed it, and it was her kid and her husband that crushed, and she was in tears and bawling her eyes out and was trying to portray that to all the other players as well as the audience. And of course, dice rolls came into play to determine whether the people bought it, if it was a lie, or if they bought it if it was true. And that entire scene, that whole day took place in that room, but I have never seen the amount of roleplay that I got out of my players that day. And it was fun. By the way, they nicknamed the character got a nickname after that. They called her the Boulder, and I think that's just hilarious. But I think that went pretty well. Do you remember anything that stood out about that?
I'm nothing about the pro wrestler from Avatar.
That's where I'm sure that's where that came from.
Not really. Just that she tossed a boulder and a bunch of innocents, and instead of people killing her, they got put into a trial. It's like, oh, this would be neat.
Yeah, and she ended up she got kicked out of her own service of military. She had like a soldier background or something. Got kicked out and had to charge and everything. So that was one of the most recent ones I ran. Man, that was a long time ago. I need to step it up. I haven't played one in a while. But it was so amazing to see the amount of role play that came out of that. Wow, I really kind of derailed.
Yeah, you did.
But
it's relevant to the topic.
It is.
yeah, I know, but kind of more than I wanted. But anyways, with that in there, now obviously you don't always have to do something like that. I actually removed the character's abilities and influence from the game and wanted them to actually feel how the NPCs felt. That's why I decided on these little sheets for them, because I wanted them to be able to portray how these people felt after what she did.
And Sam wants to know how much more work is that for the DM?
So what I did, I just treated it as any other NPC. So I actually didn't have much more work, with the exception that I had to make a number of NPCs. I made 11 new NPCs. And
you can even do that with die rolls with the DMG.
yeah. But what was interesting and did take a little bit more work is there was now a vendetta out for that player from some of the innocents. And actually one of the mothers challenged the player to combat. Now, the player is a fucking adventurer. She's got no chance, but she didn't care. She just watched her son and husband get crushed under this by this evil quote-unquote hero. And so I don't remember what that character's name, but man, she was fun to play. But she challenged her and, eventually just kept following her around because the player didn't end up just outright killing her.
Right, that reminds me of a game that basically involved a player whose short version, we nicknamed her character Baby Killer.
Oh, God.
So how much of that was prepped and on the fly?
All the NPCs were built on as prep. The judge and stuff and the lawyers I did on the fly because I had to be able to react to what they said. But what I did do is, since I wrote out some notes...
Objection!
Sustained.
So I had to actually learn... that's one thing. I wrote out what the what are the fucking words I'm looking for? When somebody's found guilty, you use evidence. Yes. So I used I counted how many pieces of evidence were in all the descriptions.
Evidence?
And knew how many pieces of evidence needed to convince the jury that she was guilty or innocent. And that's when those checks started to become important.
There's supposed to be evidence?
Now, there was sometimes where I bypassed those entirely depending on the role-playing of the character. And I have one player. This one player got the sheet where he was a merchant, and he was bribing other people to lie and say that this adventurer was pure evil, and because he was going to make some money on the side. And I, to this day, don't think I've ever had a player better role-play than that player did that day. He took on the very creepy... Yeah, I was there. I saw it all. I could see it in her eyes. The anger, the pleasure, the joy. I could see the smile on her face. To this day, it haunts me. How could somebody just take so much joy and pleasure in that? How could they love slaughtering? I watched as the child tossed their body out of the way and was unable to get out, and their head get crushed under a boulder. I mean, you can't unsee stuff like that, I'm telling you. It was terrible.
You know,
These people here, they should not be allowed. They should be jailed. They should be locked up for all eternity. You do not deserve free. I mean, he just went on, and I felt so fucking bad as the DM who had this whole thing in play. I'm like, man, I should just send her bitch ass right to jail. But so those are some really good stuff that comes out of that sort of stuff. But what I think made it more interesting is I think the players learned a little bit about their own characters, because here they are in a situation where they're hearing the feelings of the NPCs, and they had to stop and think, okay, I agree with this, but I don't think my character does. So how should I approach it? Should I help my friend who's a player to get out of this, or should I let her bitch ass go to jail? I don't know. So it was very cool for me personally.
I can't help but think of what the evidence could possibly be. Look at Exhibition A bloody stone. And Exhibition number B, a slightly larger bloody stone.
No, but actually the head of one of the innocent children being tossed on a table.
Oh!
That's gnarly. That should not be used as evidence.
That's pretty solid.
I have
evidence. Anyways, so
Okay, and I get this miscellaneous organ here. I'm not quite sure what it is. I just know it looks like a cantaloupe.
but in spite of all that, despite of all the prep, there was a lot of improv, because you have to react to the players as they talk. Because there were some times where I said fuck the roll and I just gave them a success or a failure, because either the role play was really great or it was really poopy. And if it was really poopy, I made you roll. And if you had a shitty argument, I didn't even make a roll. You just went down the pooper. So.
And Sam asks, is there a magical form of a camera they can use in your fantasy realms? I feel like there is.
Spells probably. I don't know. I don't remember.
Because I feel like I've dealt with some magic items in the past that involve like canvases that has like enchanted pigments on them they can hold up, and it captures the background and becomes permanent.
Oh, maybe. All right. So that being said, that was the last one I did, and like I said, it definitely was a heart-wrenching moment and was very engaging.
All I can think about is Liar Liar. Such a great movie.
The pen is blue.
And the goddamn pen is... God damn it. Stop distracting.
I object. Why? Because
would.
that's devastating to my case. Overruled. Good call.
All right. So the point is, of all this long-windedness, if you're going to run a homebrew, there needs to if you're going to run a adventure like this, in my opinion, there needs to be some build-up to it. You can't start out in one, because there has to be a lot of things known and understood and investment, right? That goes along with it. You need to ensure that your players have a chance to know the world, and you have to ensure that your players have a chance to know the world before they have anything that can drastically alter the setting. And if players who have not spent a lot of time, fighting, defending, or whatever, a particular location, oftentimes they don't have enough time to form opinions or just don't give a shit. So, that being said, we have several points here we want to discuss to help bring your adventure in your campaign setting into this kind of political intrigue. Camden, have you read through these yet, by chance?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to talk about our first point here? Make the issues matter.
Yeah, for sure. So it's important to make the issues matter. Naturally, the heart of political intrigue is often just one or two major issues. Different characters fight for power because of sharply different points of view on a particular aspect of society and the best way to approach it. More common issues may be wizards arguing over the ethics of necromancy, or a trade village may argue over opening trade with a village of goblins. Regardless, it's the DM's job to make these matter to the players. Is a play a necromancer or a
it's supposed to be player. I'm sorry.
Is a player a necromancer or a goblin in these instances? Remember to keep it simple, stupid. Overly complicated, too much detail. Overly complicated settings and too much detail can end up boring the players. If the players take on a steep interest, then consider adding more depth.
Yeah. In my personal experience, for best results, I found that making the issues parallel to real life. I mentioned at the beginning of the show that I am heavily into politics because it's something that's important to me. And when you can bring some of that sort of thing right into your game, the players themselves can actually relate, and that's when shit really gets real. If you model your paladins, for instance, after Nazis, right? Have them acting in the same vein, making, the same arguments that, we are the superior of all of you. All of our paladins have blonde hair and blue eyes, and, our God is right. And anybody who isn't worship him is an animal and needs to be destroyed.
I can do you one better.
Okay.
We elves are the master race. We live longer. We are better at magic. We create better items. We establish civilization when you monkeys still lived in caves, you humans. Seek higher!
So that would be a really strong example. But you can not that we do not support the Nazi Party in any way. They're fucking shitheads.
Although let's face it, in World War II, they were pretty snappy dressers.
Oh God, dude, shut up! No,
Dressers. Oh
edit that shit out. I don't want to hear that. I don't. No support goes to those fuckers. Anyways, so
go out into Walmart and say, the SS uniform is pretty badass. Let's wait and see how long you get.
Oh God.
Hitler was an excellent public speaker.
Technically true.
Actually, yeah, that's how
we just lost both of our listeners, you assholes.
Yeah.
The other thing, and kind of this might touch a little home, is maybe there's a conflict and that something happens. The elves are fleeing their burning forest due to powerful lightning storms, and it could be like a stand-in for immigration. That's very relevant right now, right?
Make it known.
And every player is going to have their opinions on that, right? It's easier for players to identify with certain issues that they that they have to deal with in real life and have strong opinions on. That can pull their character and their personalities into their character to really give them a lot of pull and argument of why something is right and why something is wrong, right? And sometimes it will keep them engaged because they already have thoughts about it, right?
We don't want these gnomes here. They're not one of us.
You guys keeping track of that?
Oh yeah.
Fuck you, buddy.
What do you think about that, Camden?
Underpants now.
I think I think that's really good advice. Don't be afraid to, if you're a DM cooking up something like this, don't be afraid to steal from current events. Right. I think it's a great tip to pull on people's personal heartstrings. Although I'd be careful around that to make sure that people are staying close to what their character would do rather than what they would do as a person. Just make if you're a DM and you're playing with friends, and if you feel like these people relatively well, make sure you're keeping track of what their character would do.
That's great advice.
We should not allow these gnomes into our village. They do not measure up to our standards. Is that a height joke?
Build a wall.
It's
only 2 feet high.
That is awful.
And you're gonna make the gnomes pay for it, aren't you? Oh God, damn.
The other thing that came to mind is if you're having trouble coming up with like political groups to set up in your campaign, any good political faction has a leader. So I'd say go to the DMG and cook up an especially good or especially bad or maybe morally ambiguous NPC who's a strong personality and would cultivate a political following.
I love that. That's excellent advice.
And the worst kind of enemy you can think of. If you don't agree with them, you can see where they're coming from.
Can I just say, what you add to this show by far is your awesome quips. Can I just say that for a second?
They do happen occasionally, yes.
Yeah. Anyways, so actually Sam says beware of political differences within your game group. I disagree with that, but I'm also one of a few because kind of on a quick side note, and you can cut this out. I truly believe that unfortunately our society is pushing towards not talking about religion and not talking about politics, and I am totally against that. That's the only way I can better understand why you think the way you do.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with me, like me and my dad, we're on opposite sides of the spectrum, but I still talk to him and I ask him why, whether it's faith or political eyes, right?
Like I said, the worst enemy, I don't agree with you, but I get where you're coming from, dang it!
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. So if you do have differences of opinion on somebody on politics or religion or any of that sort of stuff, take a time to ask them questions. I always do, and I don't. Okay, I can see why you would believe that.
Like,
That's fine.
shoot, on social media, I've seen like the worst things people have said in some circumstances. Like, oh, you don't agree with me? You're unfriended, just like that.
Yeah,
It's like
that's terrible.
It's like, I'm sorry, but what you're doing is you're being, what's the word I'm looking for?
Don't you fucking say snowflake, I swear to God.
I hate that phrase.
Okay, because
bitch.
everyone is, right? Everyone's unique.
Well, I hate that phrase just because I feel like every time I read it in an article, I'm like, and you just lost my interest, and I lost any seriousness I had in you. You lost all authority.
Okay, so, yeah, were you going to say something, Camden?
Yeah, to speak to Sam's point, I agree. I totally agree with Justin.
Yeah.
I feel like dialogue is important, no matter what corner you're coming from.
Yes.
It's how shit's communicated, and it's how shit gets done. But I would be very. I agree with Sam to the extent that if you know your players and you know that you have an Alex Jones or a Hassan Piker in your group who's going to stir something up,
Right.
definitely be careful.
That dude, those are great references. Solid kudos to you, man. Solid kudos to you. Yes. That being said, kind of get back on topic. That's how I feel about that. While I might not agree with who he voted for, or who he likes, or what he thinks, I at least make a strong effort to try and understand why.
I vote for Gary Johnson.
We'll talk about later why you're wrong. I'm kidding.
Why? Because I didn't want to vote for either other candidate.
Right. Anyways, so moving on far away from that, which I do understand is relevant. And I kind of knew that going into this topic.
Yeah.
That being said, this is a great way to keep the players engaged when you do start to tie it to real life scenarios. Now, they don't have to be like current ones, right? Go look in the past, look at stuff that's happened back, in Roman times or whatever, Greek times, or medieval times, wars are fought over women, stuff like that.
Or even during our founding fathers' time.
Yeah, right. Yes. Okay, so, Brandon, would you like to take our next bullet point? Break it up. Break it up, boy, if you got me feeling naughty. Wait, I think, is that how that goes?
No.
Whatever.
Breaking it up, no matter how well it goes with political intrigue, he might want to...
Do you want to take the next one and read that, and then we'll come back to you?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Breaking it up. No matter how well it goes, political intrigue, just like dungeon crawls or anything else, it can be tiring. Ensure to include events or encounters that have no moral uncertainty. This can help prevent player burnout from the constant arguments.
What are you looking at me for?
Because you're judging me.
I certainly am, but why is that stopping you?
Such a prick.
It's true.
This can help prevent player burnout from the constant arguments of who is right and who is wrong. A killer on the loose can easily overshadow arguments of whether or not the elves should be allowed to stay in the city, or if necromancy is ethically, or if necromancy is ethically wrong.
Is that not a word?
There's
no squiggly lines under it, so it's right.
He's trying to raise a family, man.
Yeah, they're just trying to raise a family. What's your problem?
I hate you both.
It's so hard to raise a family. Now they're very close together. What? What?
Let's give a short digress from the political intrigue with a bit of mystery and fighting. Tailor these to your encounters on your own table. If you're a real pro, like Justin's, self-proclaimed pro. You can find.
Oh,
a way
I'm not self-proclaimed, bro.
You can find a way to tie these breaks into the overall plot in some way. For instance, maybe the murder victim was someone important on one side of the debate.
Kind of what Camden was talking about. Having somebody important that's kind of driving one side or another.
Dude, you're like the murder hobo warmonger and you're the pacifist, and yet you cooperated and fought the enemy without a second thought. Why? Well, because they're Nazi vampires. What is there to argue about?
Before I give my 2 cents in, Camden, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, that about covers what I wanted to talk about.
Thanks for adding to the conversation there, Camden.
Pacifist. Is that what a baby sucks on?
Oh my God, no, dude, that is a priest. Wait, that's not right either.
You said that.
That a pacifier or pedophile?
Too
Pedophile.
soon.
No,
Too soon.
it's I'm a pacifist. Isn't that what a baby sucks on? No, that's a pedophile. No, it's a pacifier, you idiot. Oh, what was I thinking?
Something totally different.
From Red vs. Blue. That's a great quote.
Definitely. Well, I don't know. Our show may not be suitable for young children, but apparently churches. Camden's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you assholes?"
You know what you're getting into.
So the reason I say for the break it up, because something like this can create a lot of tension. For example, in the most recent one I ran, that we were talking about in the court example, there was a lot of tension and everyone was uptight and stressed over the situation. If you have too much of that, it can really burn your players out emotionally. So if you're running something like this that lasts months, you want to make sure that there's times where that guy is wrong and he needs to die, and there's no questions. Everyone knows it, and they can just deal with it instead of having to think about it, because you don't want that wear on them, because then they're going to lose interest in the adventure. So
I did nothing wrong. You sacrificed 100 babies to your dark god. You can have more.
Oh.
do you want to take the next one?
Player PC engagement. If the DM has done their job, the players should be well engaged and start to form their own opinions on the subject. This can lead to a player having strong feelings and building their own agendas. They can even decide that both sides are incorrect. And there's a third option. One, the DM did not lay before them. In an election, for example, maybe one of the players could be a candidate. If that happens, yeah, that's cool. It just means you have done a fantastic job of engaging the players. Don't be afraid to let them control some of the story. Players don't always use the power they have to their fullest, but it would be better if they did. And especially if they use it in ways that nobody sees coming. It's their story too, and let them help tell it. And really, when the PCs are engaged and have a stake in what's going on, they will bring their own ideas, and they will bring their creativity to the forefront, instead of just going off of whatever anybody else is doing. And the game, at the end of the day, is about the players' stories, so they should be engaged in it.
Did you bypass creative juices just because of the way it was worded? Because I was sad when you skipped that.
Yeah, so was I.
No, I didn't.
All right.
I was just ad-libbing as it's going through.
Yeah, you did a great job on the ad-libbing, by the way. See how he's pro?
I'm bad at
He's
that.
pro at that. All right. So, PC engagement, Camden, do you have any thoughts on this?
I guess in order for the PCs to be engaged, you have to properly set them up to be engaged, not necessarily directly, and not railroading, as we talk, as you guys have talked a lot about on the show.
You can say we. It's okay. You're part of the crowd. The crowd.
As the podcast has addressed in the past, it's important not to railroad the players, but definitely set them up for the possibility of something like that, and let the dice decide.
Yeah, I personally really love the idea of having players becoming the leaders that you were talking about, who take up the mantle for something that they believe in. Hey, I'm a half-elf, and I think you keeping these people out because they're different is wrong.
Shut up, half-breed!
My friend, I will not tell you again. Do not interrupt me while I'm speaking,
Mudblood.
for I will be forced to thrash you. having a player that has strong ties to that, maybe a character that has a background in that he was, that person was maybe a refugee or something, can easily lead to them being the person that's the forefront of this argument and wants to do everything in their power to help succeed or lead into some sort of negotiations, because if you can get them at the lead, that'll create such an engaging opportunity, because now you're not doing it as the DM. You're not saying, all right, my friends, I've got some ideas for you. The evidence that we have suggests that Harkan, that filthy human over there, doesn't want the elves in because apparently he has a bad history with them of race and I lost my train of thought. Has a bad experience with getting along with other races. So what we need to do is we need to expose him for what he is.
And also, Ursa, he's also against the elf settling. It turns out it's because the land that we have them settle on, if they do come here, he's trying to buy. So he doesn't want to lose on this investment opportunity.
Sam asks, do I think a political intrigue setting should be at a higher level rather than lower?
Not necessarily.
So I don't think it really matters.
I'm going to actually agree with that. But I think at higher levels, you start to get a little bit trickier, because now you can do things like magic manipulation of people. You can control people to do what you want, and I think that drastically will change how stuff is done, especially if you can just tell somebody to say something for you. So I definitely see that'll come with its own challenges, but I don't necessarily think that is bad at low levels or high levels. I just think it'll definitely have more challenges at high level for the DM, as there's ways for the players to manipulate other people. So just keep that in mind. But for the most part, I would say if you're doing a game for your first time, it might be a little more challenging. But other than that, I don't think that it should matter.
In addition to the complications that come with magically manipulating NPCs, naturally when you're higher level, your PCs are better known. They're more famous in their realms, and might be more powerful as political figures.
Yes, and because they're well-known political figures, keep in mind that they should have some sort of guards, some honor guards. Some of those guards probably have anti-magic fields or have wards put up to kind of counter that stuff. And I think that in and of itself will create an interesting thing. If Ian tries to manipulate the soft-spoken Brandon here into saying some stuff and a ward busts, giving away the fact that he was just controlled, I imagine that would create a whole new opportunity for the guards or the sorcerer or the wizard or whoever created that ward to say, hey, somebody's trying to manipulate you. We need to now search. So now you've got this very cloak and dagger where you don't want to give away who you are, so you got to kind of get away from these guys without giving away that you're trying to get away, So I think that leads to a lot of potential opportunities, more so than what you would have at lower levels, I think. So do I think it's really lower? I don't think so. I think the approaches will change, though.
Oh, yeah.
What does he say there?
I'm thinking, this is from Sam, I'm thinking that because there are many adventurers out there, many opportunities for individuals to become powerful, and these are likely to be employed as protection by the rich and powerful.
So you hit right on where I was going with that. Fantastic.
It's like how one of my 4th edition games, one of our players became a king.
Right, and actually, this might actually be a good opportunity for the players to be those people. If you have just a normal farmer guy who is leading a revolt against the city, who is trying to keep, the elves out because they don't want those filthy tree huggers in their city. From as an adventurer, you agree with him, he's going to need protection. So now that becomes your responsibility, and now you've got to deal with, well, what happens when somebody else is trying to mind control him? What devices do you put in place to protect against that sort of thing?
I don't think the elves should be allowed in their village. Well, why not? Well, I asked them for help once, and they said no. So why should I give them my help when they need help?
Dirty dwarves.
Always down in their minds. Anyways.
They are down to earth, though.
So I think engagement is important, and if you can get the players engaged enough that they end up wanting to take up those important roles, that's even better than them just being the hired hand to poison a competitor's drink or to destroy ballots for the vote or what have you. Because there's a lot of people who think that a political intrigue is these two people are fighting and your job is just to go assassinate whoever they ask for. That's not really... I mean, that's a cloak and dagger stuff, but that's not all there is to it.
Unless we need you to assassinate this one guy. Except we need you to make it look like that this guy did it.
Ooh, that's good. Because now the players have to
fun.
figure out how they're going to do it.
Yep.
Because not only do you have to get the job done, you have to find a way to point it in a specific direction.
Yep.
That's good. I like that. All right.
I feel like the key to this piece is definitely playing off the PC's backstories.
Oh, for sure, definitely. If you can, and as the DM, you should have access to all that, right? Which once again comes into play that if this is something you've gradually worked into, you've given them time to flesh out their characters, their personalities, as well as for them to become attached to some of the people in the said city. What if the guy that you meet with that gives you the quests every day is an elf? And the PC, I know we keep coming back to the immigration thing, but that's because that's something that's very popular right now, and is in debate constantly. If he is an elf and you are all dwarves, but you've been hanging out with this guy, you really like him, he's a really nice guy, and he's constantly depressed, and he's telling you his woes about how his family's trying to come in and they won't let him, all because of let's say it's a natural disaster. Maybe the place just burned down. Where do they go? Where do they live? And so now if they've been talking with this guy and meeting with him regularly over the last few adventures, they're going to have a personal connection to him. So they're going to take with what he says is going to have a lot more weight. At least that's what I think.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, moving on to our final bullet point here, and I really think that this is where it gets a little more challenging. As far as it can range on the scale of even PvP sometimes. But I know some games don't allow that at all. Some have some varying thoughts on that. Actually, before we get started, Camden, what do you think about something with any sort of PvP? Either lots of it or a little bit of it.
I'd say just the players are going to do what they want. I'd say play damage control and don't be afraid to call out roles for things that characters might want to do to the other characters.
Right.
And I would say if the situation merits it story-wise, I go right ahead.
Yeah, there are some people, and I know many of them, that think PvP should be completely off limits and shouldn't be a thing because it creates tension at the table.
That's the idea.
In session 0, this would be the time to talk about that sort of thing. Do you allow PvP or not, and to what ends? Technically, if I'm a wizard and I have mind control, there's nothing that stops me from casting that on another player. If his roll fails, he has to do what I say, like a dog. And some people hate that. They hate losing control of their character and taking away their player agency, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I'm fine with that because that's within the rules. So, okay, I do that to you. What is the punishment for that? That being said, we'll move on to this where I don't think it's quite to that level. But as this last bullet point is talking about, opposing sides, and as the characters form their own ideas, they may end up having a difference of opinion. And that's really a great way to get them into the story even more, because they have their opposite sides, right? They don't, yeah?
All right. Sam did mention in his game that he rules that anything that is within a player's possession can't be stolen by another player. Had too many rogues, apparently screwing stuff up.
Yeah, no shit.
Do you want? Can I give you just my quick feedback to that? When something like that happens, the player should report him to the guards. Say, hey, this bastard stole my stuff. Or every time I'm around this guy, because eventually they're going to figure it out. Eventually they're going to make a mistake. Call the guards. This person keeps stealing. Okay, they're off to jail. Roll a new character, fucker. You deal with the consequences of your decisions. That's why I generally don't have a problem with PvP at all, because the players at my table know they're going to have to deal with the consequences of their decisions. Man, we need to have a whole episode on this.
We should.
I might do that. So moving on from that, the PCs opposing each other means that the spotlight is on them all the time, not too higher up NPCs who are leading these factions. It's the players are at the center, especially if they're on opposing sides. Additionally, the PCs don't need to censor their characters' growth on account of what the party wants, right? Because you're allowing them to separate and form their own. If you can get it like split where half the party agrees that the elves should be allowed in, the other half shouldn't, that creates a lot of tension within the group or inter-party conflict. You're welcome, Gabe. And it allows them to grow and argue their cases. Because if Ian and Brandon agree that the elves should be able to take shelter, and Camden, you and me disagree, how does that reflect in our arguments? Are we just going to use dice to try to persuade each other, or are we going to role play it out and say, hey, you know what? I think it's bad to have them in. There's not enough food. It's a food shortage. It's overpopulated. There ain't going to be places for people to go. It just doesn't make sense, right?
They have druids. They can grow food, numbnuts.
Well, then why do they need my shelter? Why don't they grow a tree?
That's not how trees work.
Well, you just said you can grow fruit. How can you not grow something bigger?
That's a good example.
Yeah, I mean, it creates a little bit of back and forth between the party on a very intimate level, I think. Now, once again, with that in mind, the DM should never force the players on opposing teams. If you're don't do that. Don't say you believe this and you believe that. Don't do that. That's bad.
Exactly how druids work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, definitely don't egg them on, but you have to find a medium between egging them on and just like standing back and being the drama queen that goes, "Oh shit, what do you say to that?" and just like watching the dialogue happen without doing anything. So you just have to find a happy medium.
You mean kind of control them so they don't get out of control.
Right.
See, I disagree.
They shouldn't be in here because they're dirty.
I disagree, because when people get in heated debates, that's where the passion comes from. Now, obviously, I agree with you on the fact that you need to keep them, as the DM, you should keep them from like screaming and hating each other. But I would hope that all involved are mature enough to handle this sort of thing. Now, that's not always the case, and at the table, the DM should be well aware of that. And I think you, Camden, had pointed that out earlier, that not everyone can create that separation between their character and player. But in this case, I would encourage the long debates and the arguing, and instead of having rolls, I'd just be keeping checkpoints. Oh, that motherfucker won that one. Oh, hell yeah, I'm giving you a point. And then at the end, tally it up and see who wins, you know?
I, my judge, will make the one thing clear. This will be a fair trial. Now, where is the dirty, rotten thief? Your Honor, I object. My client is not dirty.
Yeah, and it is up to the DM to ensure that the political, quote unquote, PvP doesn't turn into like a free for all murder thing. One of and I just kind of mentioned the point system. Using a tally system can help mitigate that. But of all the forms of PvP in political intrigue, isn't combative, right? So it shouldn't devolve into something as terrible as Ian being, shanked by Brandon.
Ow!
You can ensure your players are kind of okay with opposing each other's goals without resorting to that sort of thing ahead of time. That being said, having two players run against each other for the lord of a city can make for an amazing opportunity. Not only does the party in the end both win anyway, because now one of the players runs the damn city, but how they get there is a journey involving all of the players and all of their thoughts and all their decisions. So maybe Ian ends up winning against Brandon, but Brandon is able to leverage some sort of, okay, we can't, Ian won, and he's going to say you can't have any elves in. But Brandon convinces him to say, okay, well maybe we'll let a percentage in, and you have to negotiate with another party, another city, to allow them to go there, and you'll help escort them, somewhere in between. And that all comes from the players deciding on that sort of stuff. Now, this is obviously a very grandiose example, but it can be as small as a small 100-person village, and a local clan of elves got nowhere to go,
Dude, if the elves settle on your land, that means you have more workers. But if they don't come on your land, that means it's 7 years and you have full control over it. Either way, you win. I know.
Excellent, Mr. Burns. And you got to remember, not only will this create debate between your players, but you can use their arguments and put them on a stage in front of a crowd and let their arguments influence the crowd as well. While they might be able to persuade the players, maybe they can't persuade the crowd because they are only thinking about the 1%, the adventurers who are ridiculously wealthy, and fuck everybody else, This really harkens back to, the old, classroom setups where you ran for president type of thing. There was always interesting debates and interesting conversations that happened in those, the whys and the why nots. But did anybody have any other final notes on that? Did I miss anything?
No.
Sam says, growing trees is a spell. That's exactly how druids work. But in any case, these are these are much more difficult to run than your standard, tag them and slab them, whatever. Slab them and tag. What is the phrase? Stab them and slab them? Yeah, that one. This is much more difficult.
Bag 'em and tag 'em.
Oh, there we go. This is much more difficult than your traditional dungeon crawl where you bag them and tag them.
Kill him and chill him.
But when you succeed...
Snap necks and cash checks.
Ooh, I like that. But when you succeed, though, the payoff to something like a political intrigue is greater than any goblin slaying adventure ever. It opens many great opportunities and reveals not only who the characters are, but who the players are and what really matters to them going forward. And that is a sort of thing that no matter how much writing you do, a lot of times in things like dungeon crawls and quick adventures doesn't come through. And so if you're into understanding your players and you're into understanding their characters and they want to get a better handle on their characters, something like this is the way to do it. And I cannot stress that enough. I think with that, is there any other comments, puzzles, riddles, limericks?
I'd say just to reiterate off of Sam's previous point about maybe some particularly strong political views amongst your players. Above all, when you're planning this, definitely read the room, or in this case, read the table, and
yes,
and consider if you have any people who are hotheads, and plan accordingly.
Or send them home.
Right.
Sorry, you're too immature for this adventure, so you're gonna have to stay out for a few days. See you
You're
later.
in timeout.
Get the fuck out.
Or like Ryan Torres's Popper.
That's awesome.
You're being a dick.
You get a popper timeout. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here.
You are off the table for 1d6 minutes.
Go stand in a corner. You can use your D4 to determine which corner. I'll be honest. When I started writing these notes for this, I had way more planned. But as I wrote it, I realized this would be quite a long discussion.
It never has been a long discussion.
Yeah. So I actually am going to later on extend on this because I actually want to run an episode talking about the specifics of Cloak and Dagger and how to get the most out of it. So we'll see that in the future. Actually, that might be next.
That's a good question from Sam.
What's that?
What about Adventurers League and game shop sessions?
For what?
Political intrigue, and having people that are like that.
So you've actually played at way more Adventurers League games I have.
I've even ran Adventures League games.
So did I. But I didn't do a very good job because I'm a terrible DM. It turns out.
I thought you did okay.
Just okay.
Yeah.
I did fucking awesome, dude. What are you talking about?
Okay. See, I suck at this too. What are you talking about? I'm amazing.
I was amazing. Anyways, for those sort of games, this is just my experience, and Ian may disagree with me. That's much harder to do in a game like that because often they're just following a module, and I can't really think of too many modules that focus on that.
They only give you so much latitude in those.
Yeah, it's very linear.
Yeah.
And I think so. I don't know that you would find those in there, but if you did, you can give it a shot. But honestly, I don't know that the people in those games will have as much passion as the people that have developed their characters without as many restrictions. I guess. I don't know if that's accurate. Actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally wouldn't. I've DM'd most of my experiences at the Adventures League, and I didn't enjoy as much of the mechanics of it when I was there as a player. That being said, it was a great opportunity to meet awesome people like Ian, and the players are great, but at least in my experience, I would say avoid it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, don't run anything particularly high stakes at an Adventures League game.
Yeah, they're very particular on their rules.
Yeah, and I know there's been one or two times where I've had to come down on some people here and there rules-wise.
Yeah.
Even the store owner.
About making the wrong decision?
Or not necessarily that, as much as they thought the game should be run in a certain way.
And you cannot do that in Adventure Leagues. It is ran a very specific way. to keep everything standardized. And I think that's why you don't see a lot of those.
Yeah.
Because in order to run a political intrigue, you really need to have the power to make changes to the world.
Right.
Because that's usually what's happening. You know?
Or there's been a few times too where players will even argue with the DM individually about how they think things should be done.
Yeah. That being said, I would say probably avoid that in Adventures League.
Yeah.
I think that'll do it for our main topic. Yes.
That was a long-ass main topic.
Oh, dude, it was so much worse. I have 2 sets of notes
Yeah.
for the next episode.
And before our next segment, we have another giveaway from Loresmith.
Yay!
What?
We have a giveaway from Loresmith.
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah.
Why didn't anybody tell me about this?
It's in the
Because it
script.
says it in the show notes. You wrote it, you doof.
That's weird. It's almost like it's always there. I must have missed it. I was blanking out. Did you already do the... Yes, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you, bro. Camden's like, I regret coming on this show. Fuck these guys.
I'm having a great time.
At one point,
You know what he was getting into.
He was sitting back looking at his monitor, and I swear he looked like a guy who was watching a movie with his girlfriend that he didn't want to watch. Just sitting there going,
Yeah, I'll bet I've had the exact same face on in that exact situation.
My wife takes me to see movies. I'm going to go see Mamma Mia for like the 8th time. Yeah, see, I can hear everyone
Oh, the
crying,
silence.
crying for me.
Each episode, we will draw another lucky subscriber's name, and they will win the best-selling adventure, The Claws of Madness, Compliments of Loresmith. Loresmith is a small indie team of creative artists who remember exploring the realms together with friends, finding incredible places, and meeting colorful characters along the way. They set out to deliver an experience that
You gotta give
sparks
more
those
context
lasting
than that.
impressions that
So
push
he
them
just
to
sent me a
create their
text,
first
PvP and
standalone
consequences.
adventure,
I don't
The
know what the hell he's
Claws
talking about.
of
I realize
Madness.
now it's the
This
topic.
best-selling adventure is one that you don't want to
I
miss.
sent you a text that said PvP and consequences. What do you think it means?
PvP and consequences.
God damn it.
I want a PB&J now.
Well,
Hey,
fine.
Camden. Who's our winner?
Our winner today of Loresmith's Claws of Madness is George.
It comes crashing down and it hurts inside. You gotta take a stand. Don't
George. You are the winner.
Congratulations, George. If you enjoy your adventure, please head on over to loresmith.com and leave him a review. Let him know what you think, what you didn't think.
I'm pretty sure it's UMP, George.
Nobody asked you.
He could be an umpire. We don't know.
UMP is a submachine gun.
Anyways, congratulations, UMP George. Congratulations, George. Shut up, fucker! I'm trying to finish this up. Congratulations, George. If you enjoy the adventure, please let Loresmith know. Leave him a review. Tell a friend. All that jazz. Even let us know what you think.
What you think?
Now, moving on to our 4th and final segment, our Unearthed Tips and Tricks, where we bring you creative content for your next adventure.
And this
The
is the
crack
dessert.
cocaine.
Like crack cocaine?
This is the dessert of our course.
Come on, guys. The first one's free.
Have a sniff.
Oh,
Even got
shit.
some of that sweet, sweet UTT.
You need to cut that part out so we can put it at the beginning of every single one. Oh, that sweet TT. I fucked it up. You know what I mean? That'd be an awesome intro. Let me fit that in there, I guess. I don't know.
More that UTT.
There's this new thing on the streets. It's called UTT.
Yeah, I got some crack.
Mix it with some baking soda.
Have you guys seen the Dave Chappelle
Yes.
Tyrone bit?
That's where I got that from.
You got some crack?
Drugs and alcohol have ruined my life.
He's sitting there in jail cells like, there's this new thing on the streets. It's called crack. It's cocaine and baking soda.
So our first UTT is our character concept. It has been submitted by Ryan Tregan, I think I think it was during a Facebook. I posted something. He had like the best response I posted the picture on our Facebook page of the creepy guy with the hood and the
sword
snakes
coming out.
coming out of his face. And I asked, why is this guy here and why is he visiting you? And Ryan's response was, he's a debt collector. This character often works for those who pay them well to find those who blah blah. This character often works for those who pay them well to find those who owe his employer something. This could be taxes, property, or even their souls. This character is often very intimidating, and it can't, if you can't pay your debt, maybe he takes something of equal value. Could be take your property, could take you as a slave, or even maybe take your life.
So it's the IRS.
Yeah, or a loan shark is where I was actually thinking, but okay. Is it a loan shark? What would it call in Forgotten Realms? If it's not a loan shark, would it be like a lone sanguine or something?
Or a bucky.
A bookie? Nah, bookie's a thing. I really like this character concept because I love the idea of the player asking me, all right, I'm looking for business, so is there anybody in here that needs some collecting? Going to talk to the local, because this, to me, I wouldn't even, I think I would play this as more of a rogue, but I could see like a fighter for hire or something doing something similar. I think it'd be interesting as a wizard. Well, you owe Jimmy some money, and I'm here to collect or turn you to a frog. Camden, what do you think about this character concept?
I like playing this guy as a mercenary. That definitely works. But along with the theme of political intrigue, you could add a moral conflict to this, and play him as a humble IRS agent who's just trying to feed his family.
Yeah, so he's not really a bad guy. He gets money by being able to convince people to give them what they owe somebody already.
Right, he's just the messenger.
He gets a percentage of it, right? That could be interesting. You could even change it to where he's more of a like a beggar. Like, hey, look, man, I really need you to pay Jake's what you owe him, because if you don't get paid, I don't get paid, and I ain't got no food for the kiddies at home, and I really need your help, man. You could help me out, even if you could give me a fraction of what you owe him. Anything I can take back to him so I can feed my kid. Can you help me out?
It's too funny considering the fact that if you haven't seen the image yet, and just hearing him talk like that, because he's creepy, he's terrifying, he's hooded, you can't see his face, he's got snakes coming out of his hood, he's got this big old cutlass in his hand, he's all looking, and he just comes up, hey bro, I need you to pay this up because I need some money. Hey Tate.
Hey Tater.
Tater!
We missed you, Tater.
This should be more like,
Worth rich 14 gold.
I am certain that I only borrowed 10 gold.
Pay up.
I don't know. I really like this idea because I think it creates anytime you get a background or a character concept that encourages you to interact with the world around you, I am always for that. Because that's one thing I don't think sometimes we get enough is the players often only interact with the people that the DM says is there.
Yeah.
Are you mocking me
Yes,
with
I
your
am.
fucking thumbs up? I'm gonna backhand you, punk ass bitch.
I missed my old seat because you can't reach me from over there.
I
think
really
over
like
here
it.
now.
I really like this. What the hell is this? I really enjoy this. Fuck.
It's a character.
What the fuck?
Thanks.
Was out eating dinner with kid. Only 3 days and a wake up and back into the USSR. Or wait, I mean USA.
And he must know that our topic is political intrigue because that is spot on.
Yep.
10 cool points to Edward Tate. So that'll do it for our character concept. The mother.
The debt collector.
God damn it! I will fucking get it. Okay.
You said mother.
Shut up, dude. And that'll do it for our character concept. The debt collector, Putin, or the debt collector.
Wow.
Arsh. Camden, would you like to take our monster variant?
Sure. Our monster variant of this podcast is the Drapes of Life Draining. It's a variation on the Rug of Smothering, which already exists. The target takes half damage from the Smother feature. And in addition to its normal effects, at the start of each of the target's turns, the target must succeed on a con saving throw, or lose 1 hit die. If the target has no hit die remaining, the attack does its normal damage, and it absorbs life essence. If a creature falls unconscious while being smothered, it has disadvantage on its death saving throws, as it's wrapped in the drapes.
Just to clarify, I think that's supposed to be a DC 13. That's my bad. I didn't put that in there. Camden, just reading this, what are your thoughts on this?
This is pretty cool. I definitely drop this in an Innistrad setting, or a Curse of Strahd setting, in a haunted house somewhere.
Or everything just to kill you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was envisioning when I came up with this, because the Rug of Smothering is cool, but I don't like the idea that the thing that smothers you just does bludgeoning damage, and it does restrain you, and I think it causes you to stop breathing, and suffocating, which I think is cool. But to me, that's never it didn't feel like it was enough. So I wanted some other tactic for it. So what happens if once it wraps around and starts grappling somebody and they're flailing and they can't breathe, and it starts to cause them to wear down and tax them, because if you can't breathe and you're struggling and you're fighting, the damage that it didn't make as much sense, though I can imagine somebody being slammed against the wall that the drapes are hanging from. But I wanted something a little more, and something I don't see a lot is when people die, they often are left alone when they're unconscious, right?
Yep.
So they get 3 times to death save. Well, if this thing kicks your ass and starts sucking your soul away, you're more likely to die. That being said, it puts a priority on this. So I think for this to get really the most out of it, combining it with like animated weapon or animated objects and stuff that are flinging across the room and beating the crap out of you, so you can't get to the person that's wrapped up in being suffocated and smothered.
I was also going to say you could add a mechanic where if you have a particularly strong creature, or maybe if you have a particularly strong PC, or even a particularly clumsy PC, you could add a mechanic where the drapes are ripped from the window and are mobile.
Oh, snap. That's
and
good. I like that.
Become kind of an animated,
like a ghost.
Yeah.
Now you just got Doctor
you can even have it levitate and stuff. That'd be
Yeah. Edward Tate says, I would use this in a tavern for a VIP section, but would prefer it be under the control of one of the bar wenches. That's fantastic. I love it.
That'd be nuts. That'd be really cool.
He's created Doctor Strange's cape, except doesn't give a damn about anybody.
That'll do it for our monster variant, the Drapes of Life Draining.
Okay, today's Encounter podcast, written on the paper here, is the Riddles of the Guardian. But you know what? I'm going to go rogue here for a moment.
What? No, it's not scripted. Don't fucking do it. No.
Because today's the political intrigue episode, and this has nothing with it. So, this idea, that goes to another episode. Today's encounter is going to be the Masquerade Ball.
What'd you do?
I didn't fucking write that. He's off script. Fuck, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Let's go.
Fuck did you do?
This Masquerade Ball is held by the high nobles, who show off their wealth and the craftsmanship throughout the mass that shows the parties and the wealth they spent to craft their mass and their clothing, and to also show their identity. However, there is one individual among this Masquerade Ball whose identity is unknown. He shows up wearing a simple black clothing and a golden mask. No one knows who he is, but he commands a certain level of respect, and he is only known as the Golden Noble. And when the players show up to this Masquerade Ball, a messenger appears to them and says,
He is fugly.
"The Golden Noble shall see you now."
I like that. That's really cool.
New show notes. Encounters Masquerade Ball. Fuck Ian, change my shit. I'll stab you.
Yeah, I really like it. Can you give us a little more detail? As we're the adventurers.
Yep. They are new to this Masquerade Ball.
Yep, I got that.
And like I said, this is a very high class. No,
So everyone's very proper. Ooh, I want to be.
and like I was saying, each bit of clothing not only denotes what house they are from, but extremely expensive and takes intense craftsmanship, not only to denote their identity and show off wealth, but so it'll be harder to copy, to replicate.
Right. I think this would be really good for a political intrigue, especially if you're trying to learn the specific information about one of the leaders of one of the internal factions.
Which is why this golden noble feel stands out,
And
because his mask is simple gold.
Yeah.
It is simple black clothing. Anyone can copy that if they so wish.
That's
in
nice.
theory.
I like that.
But they don't.
They don't. It's simple, but they don't.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, I'm really happy that this is your first episode live.
Because
I hope it's worth it.
because those who have gone against this gold noble, misfortune has always befallen them.
Ooh, that's nice. Nice. I like that.
Such as-
who's the noble?
No one knows.
Oh, that somebody has to know. Probably your last two.
They say a young noble once tried to pose as a golden noble by showing up in dress to another masquerade ball, as he does, only to be found the next morning dead with a golden mask nailed to his head.
Ow!
Oh, snap. We just went from political intrigue to mystery.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Is the rumor true? Maybe it was spread to spread dissension. Maybe it actually happened.
That's fantastic.
Okay, now here's the real question, right? You just took your show notes, crumpled it up, and threw it. Did you just come up with this, or did you read this ahead of time, said fuck that, and came up with this plan?
I came up with this ahead of time.
Okay.
Well, you know what? You're asking to go
That
back
was-
through and fill out the notes so people can reference it, okay?
I will.
We'll see.
I'll do it.
I will copy the Riddles of the Guardian then and move it to next week's, fucker.
Damn it, Tate, that's fucked up. It's like crack. You keep coming back for more, but constantly ask why.
He's not wrong.
Why do I keep coming back here?
And once again, looking at Camden, he's just like, why am I here?
God, this John Green movie is so good for me.
You must be watching something else besides us, bro.
I was playing I'm at the movies with my girlfriend, and I don't want to be here.
That's why I thought I was like,
Oh, I just thought you were just, hanging out, watching something else.
Oh, I
all those.
love Sex in the City so much.
50 Shades of Grey.
That
Here's
video-
my free ticket.
I just watched that for the first time the other day.
50 Shades of Me?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was dumb. It really was stupid.
Here's money for your ticket.
I read the stuff about it and how it's this big deal, and then I watched it. I was just like,
That's it.
yeah, okay. That's clearly whoever thought this was a big deal doesn't have the internet.
I've got a great 50 Shades of Grey story after the podcast.
See, that's how we should be. That's we should wait, but then I forget it's gone by the time I think about it. Anyway, so that'll do it for our encounter. Oh, by the way, for the political intrigue, this is a great sort of thing to try to poison people too.
Oh, yeah.
When you got to do like the ingested poison and you got to do a tactical poisoning, it's fantastic. That'll do it for our encounter of the podcast. Fuck Ian. The Masquerade Ball. That'll do it for the encounter of the podcast, Masquerade Ball. Our magic item of the podcast is
Melrick's Portable Workshop, which also has nothing to do with political intrigue, so I'm just going to read it anyway.
this comes to us from Lath Taylor. I'm sorry that I can't tie every goddamn thing I do into the main topic, assholes. Do you have any idea how much work it goes into this and how much time I spent putting this show together? Do you
so
care?
much.
No, you don't care. You just sit there pretending to be super cool people and you just don't understand how much work I put into it. I'm looking at you all. I'm going to go cry now.
That was good. That was good.
Thanks. And the award goes to...
So me and God, that's going to be like, get back here, you pussy. Melrick's Portable Workshop, brought to you by Lath Taylor. Much like Darren's Instant Fortress, except it's a 1 inch... What the fuck does that say?
1 inch.
Okay, except it's a 1 inch anvil instead of a cube, and the dimensions are 15 feet by 20 feet. It's a room with a 15-foot ceiling, 5 feet of which are in the ground, and one of the 20-foot walls has a 10-foot opening, much like a garage. Inside it houses a forge in the middle of a... Inside it houses a forge in the middle of a wall, opposite the entrance, that can be turned on with a command word. An anvil in the middle. The fuck? Right.
I just copied that shit, so
Yes.
that's not on me.
Let's see this. Way to go, Lath. You're fucking me up. A table for armor, grinding stone, and a strap for sharpening. This always has enough material to make 2 weapons, and it resets after 8 hours of being used, and appears next to the anvil. All other features of Darren's Instant Fortress applies. You could also stick this into the Harroder Cube to make it sound better.
First of all, you are now officially elected to do all magic items.
Well, god damn it.
As your character, as
Deckard Cain?
Deckard Cain. So, Camden, as our guest, would you like to give us your thoughts on this?
This is pretty cool. I'd like this to be paired with like I hate to call back to Pathfinder, but an artificer character, an artificer NPC who's kind of like, I guess you could say, like a Tony Stark type character, an inventor character who like calls you into his workshop. I'm also thinking of the Doc from Back to the Future.
Yes, I love Doc.
But like
Great Scott.
A cool kind of NPC like that to pair with this, and call the PCs into his workshop, and that'd be kind of cool.
You guys ever played Final Fantasy X?
Yeah.
There's a traveling merchant, and his name's Welcome to Awaka's. Awaka's got exactly what you need, and he's always in every goddamn town. I can imagine an NPC having this and showing up everywhere the adventurers go to repair their equipment, and he's like, would you like to see my wares today? I've got just what you need. Oh, look at that armor. It needs a good hammering. Let me hammer it for you.
I'm always a fan of the merchant from Resident Evil 4, personally.
I don't remember that one.
Welcome, stranger.
Oh,
What are you
one of my
buying?
friends-
God.
what's that, Camden?
Well, one of my friends has an NPC that he brings back to most of his campaigns. He's a traveling merchant named Giuseppe, and he's a very outgoing Italian man.
That's awesome.
And he shows up everywhere. And he's, "Buongiorno, mi compagnanes. It is so good to see you." And he's my friend's also Italian, so he
nails it.
Goes full fledged with it. It's really funny.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
Giuseppe the merchant.
For those that don't know, we also had a magic item previously that was like the flaming tongs or something, or the tongs of the smith or something. I forget what it's called, but where it could instantly cast heat metal. So I could see this being, if you can, put these 2 items in the world for your players, and somebody that's really into this, like we talked about the legendary smith character concept before, this would make a really great item. And it's something that's not really going to have a super huge impact on the game except for convenience of making your own stuff. So, one thing that restricts is, for downtime is a big thing for crafting.
Yeah.
With something like this, you could give a little bit of boost to that downtime requirement, or the take away some of those requirements for the downtime activities, because this person basically can just pop up a shop as he's taking a long rest and spend, some time doing his stuff.
And let's face it, some of the default crafting rules in the player's handbook aren't that great.
Well, I think they're designed more for a streamlined system where nobody cares about this stuff as much. Just wave it away. You spend this time every so often doing it.
Sam says the merchant complains about damage to the weapons. He sold the PCs in another town.
That's funny.
Hey, why you done with the weapons? Why don't you take care of them? Huh? Treat the merchant with respect.
What did you do to my baby?
Personally, I really like this item, Lathe Taylor. Thank you for submitting it. I undoubtedly will probably find a way to try to put this in some of my adventures, especially with the awesome. What was the name of your Italian buddy there, Camden?
Giuseppe.
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 I don't know that I can do the Italian thing. Hey, mamma mia! Buongiorno.
Yeah,
Wait, is that
Giuseppe.
French? That's different.
No, that's right.
Buongiorno is Italian.
Oh, okay.
Buongiorno. Scusi. A bobby de boopy.
He just mumbles and doesn't actually say anything coherent. That's funny. Yeah, so I really like this item. Definitely, it's not something that unbalances the game at all, and it gives a lot of usefulness. I would even say that with this, you can manipulate like the mending feature, right? Like the mending cantrip. Whoever has this, I would probably give them that they can mend something within a minute or two.
Tate says it's as good as your Scottish.
Hey, you know what, Ed? You know what? I don't have a line for that because he's a paying patron. Fuck. All right, that'll do it for our magic item of the podcast. Camden, would you like to take our DM tip?
Oh my.
Sure. Our DM tip of the podcast is pre-record your voice and add effects using programs like Audacity to enhance the experience of the players. You could even do this live if you have especially good sound equipment.
Yeah. So I heard this idea came to me right from you. You did something very interesting with your character that I've never had a player do before. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So for the alpha test of the underwater adventure, I played a Grung warlock named Ipto. I took this from an Unearthed Arcana that came out a while ago that gives you the PC block for Grung. For those unfamiliar with Grung, they were a 2E or 3E monster, and one of the people at WotC decided to bring it back for this little Unearthed Arcana pamphlet because he wanted to put them back into 5E. They're also a monster in Volos, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But I played this Grung warlock. His name is Ipto. His patron was Kintechwa, who's his jungle's goddess of death and dying and the cycle of life, I guess you could say. And the Grung stat block says that that Grung only know Grung. They grow up in the jungle. They're only exposed to their own race, so that's all that they speak. As a workaround for that, as part of my warlock character, I chose the Great Old One as my kind of patron format. So he was able to communicate telepathically to the other PCs. To do that in the live stream, I put an effect rack on my voice using a program called Ableton, which I use primarily to make music. And there are tons of other tools out there to do stuff like this. But I put an effect rack on my voice that added a big room reverb and a delay on my voice, about a second delay, so that I could make kind of a ghosty voice that could enter the other PC's heads.
It was really awesome. I have to ask, how long can it take you to set? Can you set that up in time to give us a test run?
Yeah.
So while he's doing that, I actually, in our show notes, there's we mentioned Audacity as a way to do that. He mentioned Ableton. There's also in our show notes is voicechanger.io, and I've actually just used this, and I recorded something earlier today for this. It's one of my favorite lines out of one of my favorite movies, and you basically pick what you would like it to sound like. So I'm gonna go ahead and play that while he's setting up his telepathy thing.
It's finally ready. You know, I went through quite a few adventurers to make it worthy to fight you. But man, it still wasn't good enough. After you trashed the last one, I had to make some serious modifications. Sure, it was difficult, but you guys are worth it. I mean, after all, I am your biggest fan.
You know what's funny about that? Even though it does not sound like you, I know it's you because your voice has certain mannerisms that I'm picking up on.
I tried to change them. I really did. So what I did is I recorded one of the lines from my favorite movie from The Incredibles. It's when the big bad villain is giving the monologue to Mr. Incredible, and basically the website, the voicechanger.io, has a thing. You just pick a different icon and it changes, and that was the Transformer one. And so I could easily pre-record something and hit a button and completely change how it sounds, which is great if the players run into like a demon or a deity or something along those lines. Did you get your test sample for your telepathy ready?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah.
We hear you, but not the effect.
Okay. I don't have the effect on right now.
Okay.
But it sounds a little something like this.
That's weird. That's weird. Oh, yeah. Edward says you can also use it when a trap is triggered. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I didn't think about that. They got all kinds of weird sound effects, like you can pick like demons, and Dalek was one of the options. Aliens is another option. Sonic was one. Bane was another option. So
do you know Dewey?
They had a lot of cool different things. Some of them don't work as well because they're meant to be like alien or whatever, or robotic, but...
Is that Gur? Oh my gosh, it's Gur.
Are you ready?
Duty, duty, duty.
Nice.
Isn't that awesome?
Fuck.
Isn't that awesome?
Just shit like that. Let me turn this off. So like I use this as a telepathy thing. If anyone's familiar with Critical Role, Matt Mercer does this. It has this technique to his voice where he before he starts talking, and then he'll so he does that without any effects on his voice, and that just takes some like pretty skilled voice acting.
Right.
But I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of how I made this effect direct, but like,
gotta do that, but
if you want to email critacademy@gmail.com or even tweet or Facebook us at Crit Academy, the boys will forward along the message, and I'll get into contact with you, and I can show you how to make effect racks like this.
Like
I could
lightning.
probably make you a moderator for that stuff.
It was like lightning struck the tip of my dick when I heard that.
Are you hard now?
That's from Step Brothers.
I know, I haven't seen that.
Or Tate. Or you can make it sound like a cackling zombie.
Yeah. But anyways, I really thought that was awesome, and if you can't do it live with your voice, it only takes a second to actually record this. Like literally, it took me 30 seconds to record that line once I found it, and then just hit the button and save the file. So that's something you can play for your players, and if you're really fancy and you're playing online, you can do what Camden just did and do it live as you're feeding, which you need to show me how to do that. Is that something I can do on Ableton Lite?
You should be able to, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to sit and have a little 1-2. Maybe we'll record that. Anybody that wants to learn can sit and watch. Ableton Lite is a free version of what he uses. He says, "Oh, you can get the free one. It doesn't have as many options, but he's full of shit. It's got like 1 million options, and it was overwhelming, so I shut it off." But I'm sure with the right way we can learn that stuff. So maybe we can get together and stream that or something. But anyways, any other tips you guys want to talk about on that? Sam says he'd like to learn, so I think that maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
We could do a stream like that and line that up. What do you think, Camden?
Sounds good. I'm in.
All right. Hashtag patron pals. Yeah, we can do that as one of the patron pal things.
Yeah.
Have everyone come in and talk voice editing.
For sure.
So
I'd say to couple with this, don't be afraid to rev up a soundboard.
Oh, we love soundboards.
It's a lot of work to like harvest all the sounds and know where they are and time them out correctly. It takes a lot of prep work, but like such as DMing, I guess.
Yeah, there's some things you can do. What I have in Roll20 is I have different sections of certain sound effects for environments. Like I have one for tavern effects, I got one for forest, and all that stuff. And I found having a little template really helps. And then it's easier when you got to go and just look for 1 or 2 things that are unique to that adventure. Anyways, I think that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip, unless you guys have anything to add.
Nope.
Yeah, that's about how it usually goes. So that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip. Our last and final tip is our player tip. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
There you go. Now you can fit it in. Except I feel like your rhythm wasn't. I'm not feeling it. I think you need to give me more.
I think you can fix that in post.
Okay, whatever.
Or better yet, put on your filter and then say it.
Ooh. I love that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Be all telepathy-like and shit.
Don't be a dick.
Ooh, that was not bad.
No.
You freeballed that, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll edit it.
Free ball.
So I think somebody asked something and I missed it. Make it a Twitch show? We could probably do that instead of a thing. How about the cackling zombie? What about my cackling zombie?
The sound effect added to that.
I guess that depends what it is. No, that's a
Predator.
Predator. Which, by the way, new movie. That's more like my goblin, I think. I don't even remember what noise I made for it. Anyway, so our player tip of the podcast is don't be a dick, and you can avoid dickitude by mastering that disguise.
Become another person.
So often what I encounter when players play their characters, they say, I'm just going to put on disguise, look like an orc. I'm going to look like a noble. I want to look like that noble. I want to look like a little child. I want to do this. I want to do that. To me, you can do better. If you're changing your disguise and you really want it to come off as you're changing your disguise, change more than your disguise. Say, I'm going to turn into a big, burly Goliath and start, twitching your shoulder and talking in a deep Russian accent. All right, guys, let's do this. We going to do this good. We're gonna take him out. We're gonna go meet with him. I'm going to bust his face in. I'm going to do all that I can to just destroy him. Do you understand me? We're going to do this. Now, your character might be shy and reserved, but if you put on a disguise and totally change your mannerisms, your speech patterns, your attitude in general, and become a different character, this is your opportunity as a player to play as many characters as you want.
In fact, I could even say that, take it even further and say, don't apply this to just like any disguise that your character wears. Don't be afraid to apply this to your regular character.
If you hear the crickets, that's because I agree with him, but I don't want to admit it. No, I think that this is really a good opportunity to stand out. And if you are the type of person that likes to create multiple characters, you can do it within one character. And better yet, maybe document it. Say, okay, I'm going to call him Rusash. And Rusash is big, tall, and mighty. He conquers all enemies. But turns out you're a wizard with the alter self spell, and you're just kind of, okay, guys, I understand. I can handle that. Snaps his fingers. A glamour engulfs him. He goes, "Don't worry, I've got this. Let me get these bitches out of my way. I'll pull off the room. Rashush got this." Right? Document their name and document their personalities and their mannerisms, and bring them back. Use them.
Yeah. And actually, kind of a similar tip I can add onto this. This was a tip I originally read online for DMs and for NPCs. But I think this could apply for the situation as well, too, is to help choose a direction for what you want your disguises or mannerisms to be, think of a celebrity and try to imitate them. And even if you don't quite get the imitation perfect, that's okay.
All right.
Camden, what do you think about this? Those are really good points. I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is especially important. Yeah, I think you guys hit it all. I don't really have anything to add. Sorry.
He's like, I feel like I let him down. It's because
Yeah.
you did, my boy. But don't have no worries.
Don't be an ass.
The reason, and I kind of want to tell you where I got the inspiration of this. I'm reading Oathbringer, which is the newest Stormlight book. You can get it at you can get a free trial of the Stormlight Archives at critacademy.com at the Audible trial at the bottom there. And one of the characters is called a Lightweaver, and she's all about lies, but she's quiet and she's kind of reserved, but with a snappy wit. But there's some things she just can't do because of her personality flaws. So she puts on these glamours and takes on the form of these people who can achieve that particular goal. She needs somebody who's strong and pushy and wants to get their way. She becomes Veil.
So she psychs herself up.
Yes, but she completely changes her personality.
Right.
Not just psyching herself up. She becomes this. And so when she's talking to herself and talking to other people, she kind of gets this mentality that, Shallan cannot do this, but Veil can.
Loki.
Veil can do it. Loki's a good example too. So anyways, I think that'll do it for our player tip.
But don't be afraid to play around with it too.
Right.
Like maybe have a character that be a pirate, or maybe a character that might be some kind of a down south cowboy, if you know what I mean.
That's a really good point
Don't
there,
worry,
Ian.
guys. I got this. I'll take care of this.
Or maybe he's a happy-go-lucky druid.
The what?
The Tiffany line,
Tiffany?
which is really deep. Remember that? How could you not remember that?
Tiffany.
Hi, my name's Not at all. You don't remember that?
I don't remember the name being Tiffany. Are you talking about... Oh, what, the guy dressing up as a girl?
Yes.
Like, don't worry, guys. I got this. Switches into a dress. Hi, my name's Tiffany. How you doing,
That's
big
funny.
boy?
But yeah, I
Yeah.
agree 100% with you, and I think hopefully you guys will come up with a little bit of better ideas with how to do this with the disguise kit, the alter self spell, any one of those illusions, things that can be used to kind of hide who you are. So,
Let me through the gate. I'll smash your face with me hammer.
all right, I think that'll do it for our 100 tips and tricks segment. Before we close out, we have one more gift to give away. Compliments of Jeff Stevens.
It's been a long few days of travel, and the adventurers are tired of eating rations and sleeping on the ground. The road opens to a small town with an inviting tavern. The smells of grilling meat and ale fill their nostrils, and the sound of laughter and music float out the tavern's door. Unlucky for the adventurers, they've stumbled upon Dragon's Breath Tavern. What starts out as a pleasant evening of food, drink, and entertainment soon evolves into an
I play
adventure
this,
that takes the party into and under Dragon's
but I don't
Breath
know if
Tavern.
I actually need to.
The adventure includes roleplay, exploration, combat, and a dice game called Demon Dice.
I'm starting to wonder if we actually need to play those through our live streams.
What?
The fuck? I did not tell you to start over again. Yeah, I think that
Damn it, Tate.
I think what we'll do is just moving forward. I think we won't play those during the live stream. I think it'll make your job easier there, Camden, because you edit it out and replace it too anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
So
I think we can play them more for the listeners.
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Who listening? The people watching?
Yeah.
The people watching.
If the patrons want it.
You got Sam.
Well,
Sarah.
we'll see. We'll put that out there. My wife says the show's
Edward
over, so we got to
Tate.
close up.
Yep.
Camden, who's this week's winner?
This week's winner of Dragon's Breath Tavern is
Hell of a name.
Alvaron Tularian.
We think.
Alvaron.
Comes crashing down and it hurts inside. You gotta take a stand, don't have to hide.
Okay, that was
I'm gonna say that again just because I think I royally fucked it up.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Alvaron Tularian.
Congratulations, Alvaron Tularian. You are this week's winner of Jeff Stevens'
Sounds right.
Dragon's Breath Tavern. If you enjoy the adventure, please leave him a review. Let him know what you think. Let him know what you didn't like. Let him know what you like, what you didn't like. Help him improve his product. Let us know what you think. Tell us if you run it. If anybody runs these adventures, email us and let us know what you thought. So we have to pick a topic. I have one kind of picked out, but I didn't know if you wanted to change it. Cloak and dagger builds, runs.
Let's go with that.
Okay. Because I didn't have enough to fit what I wanted to talk about in one episode. So
Right.
So please join us on our next episode where we'll hear feedback from you, our heroes. We will be discussing actually running we will be discussing the best ways to run the cloak and I don't know how to word that. Cloak and dagger.
Cloak and dagger sessions.
Yes, thank you. We'll discuss. God fucking damn it! We'll be discussing how to actually run a good cloak and dagger session. The different types of encounters, whether it's the assassination, the Ocean's 11 style kind of adventure, those sort of things that are all about being sneaky and stealthy, as opposed to just knocking down doors and stealing and stabbing people. So, like I said, I wanted to include that in this session, but I knew that it was going to be too much for one thing.
There's already a lot to this session.
Yeah. If you have any feedback on our tips and tricks or topics you'd like us to discuss, please send them to us. Camden, how can they do that? Shut up, fucker. Camden, how can they do that?
If they want to reach us, they can email us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and or Facebook at Crit Academy.
Fucking Sam. We will be discussing the best way to pronounce words. Oh my god. I hope you choke on your phone. We hope you enjoyed your experience here at the Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find our show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review on iTunes. Or you can just send us a message telling us how much you enjoyed the show. You can also follow us on YouTube. We're on YouTube now, so there's a thing. Please like and subscribe and all that jazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have any interest in any Crit Academy
Words?
nuggets in your Facebook feed, seek out our Facebook group, Crit Nation. Justin's posting in there all the time.
He is.
Yeah, I don't know how I forget about that. That's a thing. We've got that. There's a lot of people. Yeah, that's great. I enjoy it. I'm constantly sharing stuff, and some of it's relevant to D&D, some of it's not. Just
Sam.
kind of what I'm in the mood for.
You smart ass.
Yeah, he is. He's
Justin,
like,
Justin, I enjoyed the show.
Not funny. Yeah, so check
It's really
check
funny.
out that Facebook group. It's awesome. Make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com so we can help you on your future adventures, as well as be entered to win cool prizes each and every week. Every week we give away 3 things, so you're bound to win. I know several people have won multiple things. So you'll also find the links to our fellowship members there. Definitely check out our Crit Nation. The inter-party conflict guys are super awesome. I love their show. I never miss it. The same thing with D&D Character Lab. I'm actually trying to get caught up on theirs. I'm like 3 episodes behind, but the shows are great. D&D Character Lab, they answer your questions to help give you a better tabletop experience, and D&D Character Lab guys, they create new characters and argue their validity against their own criteria, which is just hilarious. Burninating, I mean, how is that even a criteria? So I really,
That's
yeah.
from Trogdor.
What? Trogdor? I love Trogdor. Anyways, yeah, so check out all of Crit Nation. You can find them at critacademy.com/crit-nation, or just find it at our website. Okay, did I miss anything? No?
No?
Okay.
No.
All right. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host Brandon.
I'm your co-host Ian.
And I'm your guest, Camden.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Do I get that line too?
I'm
Yes.
going to give you the last line.
You dick.
Only because I know it's going to piss him off.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
All right.
No political one-liner.
God
Give me a second.
You're out of time.
Today's episode comes from Backdoor Dealings. Gives a gold. We'll get the job done.
damn. How do you do that shit?
All right, guys.
That's why I needed a second.
Thank you guys for joining us today. We really had a blast. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Looks like Sam kind of might have. Sarah, welcome to the Crit Academy crew. I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did, and hopefully it won't be your first and last session.
Digglebird.
So that'll do it. Everyone wave to the camera and say goodbye. and
Goodbye. Goodbye now.
We'll
Bye,
miss
everyone.
you. And